Hello, and thank you so much for tuning into my podcast. My name is Kara, and I'm a holistic health practitioner for both people and pets. After working for years in the conventional medicine field, I realized that while our lifespans may be getting longer, our health spans are rapidly shrinking. And when it comes to our pets, both their length and quality of life are decreasing. When I turned to functional medicine and a more holistic approach to health, I saw dramatic improvements for my pets, myself, and my patients. Join me each week as I merge natural health for people and pets by focusing on the root cause of disease and applying raw, real remedies that you can use to improve overall wellness for every member of your family, including the furry ones. Hi everyone, thanks for listening. Today I have two very special guests, Carissa Antiqua and Carmina O'Connor of Cocotherapy. These ladies have a multi-generational legacy deeply rooted in coconuts and virgin coconut oil, hailing from a family farm and facility where organic coconuts and this nourishing oil have been produced for over 3 generations. Carissa and Carmina grew up not only using coconut oil as a culinary staple, but also as a potent medical remedy for themselves and their beloved pets. In 2009, they established Cocotherapy, driven by a personal ordeal involving their beloved dog Violet, who grappled with severe allergies from a myriad of triggers. This pivotal moment prompted Carissa and Carmina to further their education, obtaining certification in companion animal nutrition from the University of Illinois. Armed with this knowledge, they embarked on a mission to create impeccably clean and health-giving treats meticulously crafted from organic ingredients, which my pets love, by the way. Through Cocotherapy, their dedication to producing the finest quality products is not just a business endeavor, but a heartfelt commitment to the well-being of pets everywhere. This is going to be an excellent episode, so let's dive right in. All right, and we are back with Carmina and Carissa, our coconut product experts. Thank you guys a million for coming on. And I know that you're fresh off a trip back from the Philippines. Can you tell me, were you visiting the farm as well as family? Was it like a business trip, a pleasure trip? Was it both?
It's both, definitely visiting family and our family farm as well. It was great. The weather was fantastic, so I couldn't complain.
Can you tell us a little bit about the farm? I just imagine this like beautiful tropical landscape and just coconut trees everywhere. Can you describe what it's like there?
Yeah, well, actually, in the Philippines, our farm and facility is actually not at a beach. It's in a mountain volcanic area. So that's what makes our coconuts really unique. It's not grown in like sandy soil. It's more like in a volcanic mountain area because there's just so much coconut in the Philippines. Everybody thinks coconuts grow on beaches like they do here or in Hawaii, but it's not that way in the Philippines. So that's what makes our coconut oil really unique. Actually.
That's so interesting. So yeah, like volcanic soil is very full of a lot of like minerals and very nutritious. So that's what sets you guys apart, which I love. And I know that you have a family farm that's been going back generations, which is phenomenal.
Our family farm and facility in the Philippines is, you're right, 3 generations. From my grandparents. So we grew up with the knowledge of coconut oil and how it's beneficial to our health because that's what my grandmother used for us and all our animals. So that was, something that was just instilled with us. And I'll say the best part about being there is literally when they cut a coconut down from the tree that very minute and they open it for us so we can drink the water out of it.
Yeah, nothing like
unlike anything you've ever tasted.
Yeah.
The coconut water is so different even from the ones you get here. I'm not even talking about the one in the grocery store, Tetra Packs or bottles. Even the coconuts you get here.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Even the coconut you get in the grocery, in the produce, open it up and drink that water. Yeah, it's good. Not even the
Not
same.
even close.
Because it's already been kind of sitting there and they start to ferment little by little as they sit there.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So it's so different. I wish everybody could taste something that's straight out of the tree and drinking that water. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's something that I've been able to experience here in California is I have never lived in an area where I could just pull some kind of tropical fruit off of a tree and eat it, save for maybe apple trees back in New York. But here we have a lemon tree and an orange tree and a grapefruit tree, and they're all like the respective neighbors, and they hang over our fence, and I'll just go outside and pick one and peel it and eat it, and it's so flavorful. It's just bursting with flavor. It's nothing like what you would get that's been shipped from overseas and packaged and sat in a dark carrier container. And I mean, you just can't question the quality, and you can taste it and see it in every aspect, which is so amazing.
Yeah, very different.
So Can you actually tell us a little bit about how the production works and why your stuff is so fresh and so top quality?
Okay. Well, as you said, because the farm and the facility is in the same area, when we harvest our coconuts, we actually start producing them within hours, probably the same day. But prior to that, our coconuts are actually harvested. I mean, they're in the trees ripening for about 12 months. So we pick them when they're in peak ripeness, and then when we actually process them, we don't dehydrate them. They're not dried. It's called wet milled. So then they're actually pressed. The coconut meat is pressed right there and then. So you get the coconut milk. It's called coconut milk when you press it. And then from the milk is when we get the oil. It's actually not heated. We don't boil it like a lot of places do. It's actually separates naturally. She hears the doggy. Yeah. And she stood up. So that's what makes it different. Our farm and facility is USDA certified organic and non-GMO verified as well. So we only use coconuts from our farm.
Yeah, I know you mentioned so you don't dry it. Some other facilities will like harvest a bunch and then dry it and then rehydrate it, right? And I'm sure that affects the quality. Yeah.
Yes, it
Like that.
does because of that, then it's dehydrated. A lot of them will do it out in the sun. So there could be a lot of bacteria growth in coconut actually. And when you rehydrate it with water, sometimes they don't use filtered water, so you don't know what kind of water you're getting. So then you're doing making the oil from the coconut milk that's been kind of diluted with the water. So it's completely different. Yeah, yeah.
Is there any kind of standardization for quality in the industry, or is it like the wild, wild west? And if you do it right, that's great, but most people don't.
They try and have standards for sure, and some of they would be like the organic certifications, which some will do, but it's rare. There's ways to get around that, and also we are non-GMO verified and certified organic. So they trace that down to the lot where the trees are grown. We know exactly what trees goes with what lot number, so you can track it. They're very, very strict. So
Wow.
usually in terms of coconut oil, like olive oil, it runs the gamut in terms of how it's made. So you just have to ask questions from the manufacturer. But I think what you're mentioning about the Wild West is that there's terminology that's actually not regulated or defined, like the term cold pressed. That's used by anybody, even though it's not truly cold pressed. Like most coconut oil is expeller pressed. So expeller pressing actually generates heat. And when it generates heat, it's not truly cold pressed. So that's one term that's not really regulated and it's not specified. Another term that they use is raw. They use that constantly, raw, cold press, and there's no regulations for the term raw. It should technically be less than 115 degrees Fahrenheit. But, when they're boiling the coconut milk to get the oil, it's way higher than that. Obviously, they're boiling it. So that's not really raw. But again, because there's no standards, they can put raw on their label. And so it's quite deceiving. You really do have to know where the coconut oil comes from. The other thing, even the organic certification label for agriculture products like coconut, as long as about 90% of the coconut, 90 to 95% of the coconuts used is organic certified, they can still put that USDA organic seal on it, even though, some of the coconuts are not organic. So that's so there's but that's the standards for some agriculture products, specifically coconuts.
That's frustrating. And I feel like that probably makes it so confusing for the consumer who might not know what to look for and they just see something that says raw and organic and they reach for it. But I would wager that if you're getting the gigantic tub of coconut oil at Costco that costs, $20 for a 3-year supply, you're not getting good quality.
No. Oh, and another term that's extremely confusing for people is the term virgin. So they always say to get virgin coconut oil, and a lot of marketing coconut jars will say extra virgin on it, which actually doesn't exist in the coconut oil industry because extra virgin exists in olive oil, where extra virgin, meaning it's first press, because apparently you can press olives multiple times to get extra virgin is the first press. Then you can press it 2, 3, 4 times to get other olive oils. Now for coconut oil, you can only press it once. So extra virgin doesn't apply to coconut oil. Virgin basically means unrefined in the world of coconut oils. So, but because it's unregulated, you can have partially refined coconut oil mixed with a refined coconut oil
And still
call it virgin. So that's
Love that.
another, yeah.
It's nothing I love more than misleading marketing. Oh my gosh. So you mentioned olive oil. What is it that makes coconut oil so beneficial for pets compared to other oils?
Well, for one thing, coconut oil is a saturated fat. I know that scares a lot of people about saturated fat, but actually saturated fats are one of the most stable fats. So, and not only is it a saturated fat, it's a medium chain saturated fat, making it even more stable and more easy to metabolize. It's different from, say, olive oil or even fish oil because those other oils are mono or poly unsaturated fats. And unsaturated fats by nature are pro-inflammatory because they oxidize very easily. As soon as you open a jar of olive oil or fish oil, it starts to oxidize already. Whereas coconut oil is very shelf stable. So that's what makes it very unique. It's not pro-inflammatory, it's the opposite. And it's actually a great, powerful antioxidant. And it helps animals cope with inflammation. So that's what makes coconut oil so strong.
We really demonize saturated fats in this country, and it's unfortunately a lot of that just has to do with corruption in the food industry, which thankfully a lot of it is coming to light now. And eating animal protein and eating healthy saturated fat is finally coming back into the science, the research, and the conversation. So it's really exciting for me.
Yeah, right. Well, for animals too, though, because I've seen posts like stay away from coconut oil because it's saturated fat and it's bad for your animals. Well, newsflash, our cats and dogs were made to consume saturated fats since forever. Well, they were biologically designed to metabolize saturated fats. Saturated fats are animal fats. Most animal fats are saturated. So to even say it's saturated and bad for you, there's a major disconnect, I think. It's just fear monger. Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think what's important.
It's lack of understanding too.
Yeah, it is. Well, another thing too, and Carissa mentioned being a medium chain fat, it is really the lowest stress metabolically in the body when it's metabolized because it's converted to ketones and it nourishes the body at a cellular level, your brain, your gut, your health. It's just so different from the way other mono and polyunsaturated fats are digested. So we think that it is definitely the cleanest form of energy that, your bodies and your cells can consume.
Yep. Metabolic stress is important, or the lack thereof. Oxidation, lack of oxidation is important. And it, especially for animals who might have GI distress or GI issues, pancreatitis, things like that, having something that isn't going to be so difficult for them to digest that bypass some of the pathways that are needed for digestion can be really helpful for them. What have you seen in terms of using coconut oil for pets with, for example, maybe animals who have pancreatitis? Have you seen them do okay with an MCT oil, coconut oil?
Yes, without a doubt. We've both had animals with lipid disorders. You had a cat with pancreatitis. I had a dog with PLE, protein-losing enteropathy, where they could not digest fats and proteins. So both had to be very careful on low-fat diets, the vets say. But both of them were on our coconut oil and our MCT oil. My PLE dog was primarily on my virgin coconut oil, not necessarily just the MCT oil. And both did very well with it. I mean, we understand that the diet has to be low fat, but your bodies do need fat to function because it is a form of fuel for the brain and the cells. So if you deprive the animal completely of fats, they will not do well also. So we've had animals with both issues and they do very well with it.
Yeah. I mean, the brain is made of, so much fat. And if you don't nourish that, you're going to have problems. I mean, I've seen too many things. I've seen too many things in my career in healthcare. But one of the things that we told people for so long was stay away from fats, stay away from saturated fats. It's causing obesity, it's clogging your arteries, it's causing heart disease. And now all of a sudden, we're seeing people still have all those problems, but with cutting the fat out of their diet, we're also seeing an increase in cognitive disorders, an increase in autoimmune disease, an increase in, seizures and all kinds of things. And it kind of drives me crazy because you can't just cut one macronutrient out, right? You always have to replace it with another. So if you say no fat, what are you replacing that with? 90% of the time it's carbohydrates, and there is no carnivore on earth that's going to thrive on a high carbohydrate diet.
Right, right.
So.
And there's actually studies that show that pancreatitis can be caused by a high carb diet. So, did you see that new study? I don't know if it's new, but everybody avoids. I mean, for pancreatitis fat. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
and that's basically the high carb.
It.
It's the high carb that's causing issues with the insulin and insulin resistance. So that's crazy. And coconut oil doesn't need pancreatic lipase to be broken down, or bile acids. So it surpasses all that. And doesn't have chylomicron activity either. It goes straight to the liver and is metabolized and burned off as fuel, or created as fuel. So completely different. But, I say that for animals with like extreme sensitivity to fat, coconut oil does have a small amount of long chain fats as well. So we would then recommend, if they really can't handle the chylomicron activity, or they can't digest fats very well, then we would recommend the MCT oil, because that has virtually no long chain fat. It's more concentrated with a medium chain fats.
So that's, I think, a perfect segue. So let's talk a little bit about the key nutrients that are in the coconut oil versus MCT oil, and how those differ and how we can use those for different problems.
MCT is medium chain triglycerides, as you know, and medium chain triglycerides comes from fats such as coconut oil and palm oil. So, so some people use them interchangeably. MCT, they think it's a different product, whereas coconut oil actually contains MCT oils, medium chain triglycerides. Now, if you're referring to the oil itself, like virgin coconut oil versus MCT oil, then virgin coconut oil contains lauric, caprylic, and capric acid, with lauric acid being the highest levels compared to caprylic and capric, and MCT oil, meanwhile, is opposite. It's got higher levels of caprylic and capric acid and lower levels of lauric acid, or in some brands, none at all, no lauric acid at all. So
Nothing?
They will take out the lauric acid and just have C8 and 10, the capric and caprylic. Because some people are also afraid of lauric acid. That's a whole different conversation. But lauric acid has been demonized by certain people. So they're like, lauric acid's bad, when lauric acid is the reason why coconut oil is antibacterial and antifungal and helps the immune system.
So I do have both of those here. So I have, for people who are listening and not watching, so I have the coconut oil, and then here I have the MCT. Is there any particular, I would say, conditions or medical problems or things that you would approach and use like one versus the other based on the makeup?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, the difference between the three medium chain fats is, you know how everybody will refer to them by their number of carbon lengths. So lauric acid is C12, which is the biggest. Capric and caprylic. Capric is C10. Caprylic is C8. So the smaller the molecule, the faster it is converted to ketones. So capric and caprylic gets converted very quickly. However, in about a few hours, the blood ketone levels dissipate and it's gone. So they convert quickly and they're burned quickly. Whereas lauric acid is converted to ketones at a slower rate. However, it stays in your blood. The blood ketone levels from lauric acid is in your blood for a longer period of time. So if you want to be in ketosis longer, lauric acid is definitely more beneficial. So for animals that have seizures or brain cognitive dysfunction, I do like to say, if they can handle, do the virgin coconut oil, because their blood ketones are elevated longer. Or what we also do is tell people to alternate. Take the MCT oil in the morning because it burns, it gives them the energy very quickly. Take the virgin coconut oil at night, because at night, the lauric acid will convert to ketones, and some of it will also be converted by the brain to brain ketones, and then they can be in ketosis for 8 hours overnight. So then it's constantly nourishing the brain.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you really want to have all of them combined because you're not looking for a fast on, fast off. You want something that's going to bring you there faster, but then that second aspect that's going to keep you there longer.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And ketones can cross the blood-brain barrier. So the lauric acid typically, because it lasts longer, that's usually the ketones that crosses through the blood-brain barrier and actually feeds and nourishes the brain. So which is why we love lauric acid.
And I just want to make sure too, so people understand when we're talking about ketones, we're not talking. Sometimes people hear the word ketones and they get scared. They think like, oh, diabetic ketoacidosis. I've heard, people have dogs with diabetes. Or sometimes you see like ketones in the urine and people get concerned that that means dehydration. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about using ketones for energy, which is a lot more efficient than using carbohydrates and ATP.
Correct. Exactly. Right.
I love this for an animal that's on a keto diet already. And there's a lot of great companies who offer keto diets, or you could do keto yourself at home. And this is something that you can add to it or on top of it or be supplementing with and not worry about throwing them out of that ketosis, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's great. It's one of the best fats because we keto cycle ourselves. And you can literally go into ketosis very quickly with coconut oil compared to other fats.
So what would you say then is the best way to actually introduce coconut oil into a pet's diet? I have seen sometimes people talk about concern for digestive upset or diarrhea. And you never want to throw like the whole gamut at somebody right off the bat. So like starting slow and introducing things to tolerance. Is there any approach that you recommend?
Definitely start slow, like you said. Just depending on the dog, you can start with a few licks even. The general dosage we say for virgin coconut oil is 1 teaspoon per 10 pound, or MCT oil, which is much more concentrated, half a teaspoon per 10 pound. But that's just a guideline. Every dog is different. And you can tell, just like I had 2 Yorkies, one could handle coconut oil better than the other one. I mean, one would get a greasier coat if she took too much. No digestive issues. It just showed in her coat. The other one was just perfectly fine. So every dog's an individual. And we say just start very slowly and give it to a maximum oral tolerance where you see it's benefiting them, and then just stop at that dose. Yeah.
Yeah. Love that. Every dog's an individual. Every person's an individual. Every time, cats, everybody, all of us. So never assume that just because it's the same breed, same age, same weight, that you'll be able to feed them the same amount, because they could all react a little bit differently.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to remind people too that coconut oil is a food. It's not necessarily, it's not a drug. So we get letters, people saying, what's the dose? And they need to know the exact dose, like it's a pill. And I'm saying it's just a basic food. So just, it's like you wouldn't dose yourself on cupcakes. You would just eat your cupcake, 1 or 2. You know what I mean? My dose is 10 cupcakes a day. Just kidding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a food, so you kind of regulate based on what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Amazing. So, all right, we talked about eating it. What are other ways that we can use or apply these products?
Topically, for sure. Yeah. Well, on scrapes, hot spots, sores. We use it on ourselves as well as our animals for, any cuts and scrapes. I would use it even before I would use an antibiotic ointment when I get a cut or scrape. Yeah. It's just automatic, or burns. You can use it to clean a dog's ears. It has helped tons of dogs with ear infections. And yeasty paws or skin, when they have the black dots on it, just rub it on there. You can literally wipe, you can see the yeast, coming off. Or use it as toothpaste. Like I use it to brush my dog's teeth and my cat's teeth, and they don't fight it because they like the taste, really. So it's great for that. So it's tick and flea prevention as well. I'll rub some on my hands when I walk my dogs out, and then rub it in their paws and ears. And most parasites don't like messing with oily skin. Not that it's oily, but they have a hard time walking on the fur when there's some sort of barrier to it. So it kind of helps. I'll put some on her like armpits and behind her ears and the tips of her ears when I walk her to prevent, pests from jumping on her. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's a
yeah,
great idea.
lots of uses. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
have to try that because let me tell you, the fleas and ticks in California are like radioactive. Nothing kills these things. Nothing repels these things except for
No.
chemicals, which I won't use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to
Yeah.
try that next time we go for a hike because, man, I am smacking ticks. I see them climbing as we're hiking.
Oh,
We're not even done with our hike. It's terrible out here. So I'll have to give that a try
yikes.
next time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
be
try.
liberal with it. You can even
Yeah.
mix certain oils with the coconut oil. And don't be afraid because it doesn't stay on there. They'll actually absorb it. I put a lot of coconut oil in my hair at
Uh-huh.
night, and by the next morning, it's actually been absorbed and my hair doesn't get
Huh.
greasy. So it actually absorbs into the acid mantle of the skin and the hair. So, if you have that much fleas and ticks and you're walking through wooded areas, I'd be
Yeah.
pretty liberal with it.
Lather it all over.
Especially in between their paws
Yeah.
and their
Tips of
ears,
the
and the
ears.
tips of the ear, where they jump on their paws,
Yeah.
like their underbelly
Carrot.
area. That's where I basically do it.
Concentrate.
Under their tails and that's kind of where I focus
I'll
it
have to give
on.
that a try. I've used it in almost all the other aspects. So I use it to make toothpaste. And I know that you can just do straight up coconut oil to do toothpaste. You don't have to add anything to it. I do add the teeth, the TEEF
Oh yeah,
powder.
yeah,
I add
yeah.
that to it and I mix it up and then I'll use that as my toothpaste.
Oh yeah.
And then I've used it for hot spots. I've used it for like when you see the little black yeasty dots because my golden retriever used to be very yeasty before I switched his diet because of course golden retrievers just eat, breathe, and sleep yeast. I don't know. And he was a yeasty boy when he was on a high carb kill. So I've used it for all of those things. I've seen people use it for the ear infections, like you said. Is certain acids have more of an effect against yeast versus bacteria? Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Caprylic acid is definitely the number one yeast killer.
And then we mentioned like wounds too. You can use it for wounds because it's antimicrobial.
I mean, that's what we used growing up.
Yes.
I mean, we had it around
Yeah.
the house for everything. Oh my gosh. If you get, I don't know if you've ever had a sty, this little thing in your eye that really hurts.
It's
And
been
you
a
can
long
go
time.
to,
Yeah, I had them in high school.
yeah, you could go to, is that a virus or some sort of fungal thing? You can go to the store and get a sty cream or put coconut oil. And it works. I mean, it's just so automatic for us because we grew up with
Yeah.
it. It's something my grandma, I mean, automatic, something happened to you, you have a pimple, you have a sty, you have something, instantly out comes the coconut oil and you slather it on. It's great UTI infection.
it.
That might be too much TMI, but it helps for so many things. Yeah.
Really?
Yes,
Interesting.
UTI infection
like-
is huge.
Like
huge for
topically,
them.
like around the vulva for like females.
Yes.
I would admit females tend to be more prone to that. Lucky us, but
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
wow.
absolutely, and orally
Yeah.
too. So I will up
Yeah.
my coconut oil but yes, topically,
Definitely.
and growing up when we were teenagers, and my nieces, my nieces in the Philippines, they use it for acne. I mean, if they have breakouts, they use it for because it's antibacterial, antifungal. A lot of people think it's going to clog your pores, but it does not. It doesn't. It's really amazing. In fact, if your pores are dry and, with the other acne medications, it's going to end up clogging your pores even worse. But the coconut oil seems to really do, amazing for that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
even used it on like tattoos and stuff like that because I had, when I came out here, I got a bunch of stuff done on my arm, and I used a lot of the CBD dog health salves because it has their coconut oil in it, so and just like soothing stuff.
Yeah, it heals it
Yeah.
so much faster. And for cat acne, you know how the cats get it under their chin? They got the
Yeah.
So that's great for
you
that
could use
too.
it on that. That's
Oh, yeah, I
genius.
used
I never
that.
thought of that either.
Oh, see, it's got to be automatic. You have something, grab your coat. You're gonna save a lot of money not going to the store for
Right?
these little,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I
ointments and stuff.
already always recommend this to my clients because it's so versatile. But kitty acne is definitely one of the ones that I did not think about it. I'm going to add it to the list.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I forgot that I wanted to tell you guys this. You're going to be very proud of me. I don't know if you recall when I saw you at the Feed Real event, you were talking about oil pulling. And you were telling me I should do it. And I was like, well, I can't do it. I can't. I started doing it. And
Okay.
I've been doing it. So I do it probably like 4 times a week now. I'm building myself up. So I mostly do it in the shower. And I've gotten to the point where I used to only be able to do the, like, switch the coconut. I've been using the MCT, but I've only been at first maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then I was like, it's too much. Now I can go my entire shower, and then I get out and I spit it out at the end. I'm very proud of myself.
Wow. Yes, we are
So,
proud of you. Fantastic. Good for you.
so
Are
you
you
guys have been doing
finding,
oil pulling for a long time, I know.
oh yeah. Are you finding any benefits? Are you seeing any benefits to it, like clarity of mind or less inflammation? For me, it's an inflammation, migraine thing, headache thing. And that's why I started. And it really, really
Yeah.
helps.
I don't get headaches very often anymore now that I'm back in classes, sadly. But I think the biggest thing for me is I was having some interesting health stuff and definitely a lot of like inflammatory contributions, but also heavy metal. So I had a mercury filling and I had it removed. And I went to the dentist to talk about removing the mercury. And that was when she said, you should start doing oil pulling as soon as we get this out. And I was like, oh my
Wow.
gosh, like the ladies told me to do this probably 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, I guess you should have listened. So that was the catalyst and I started doing it. So, but yeah, I think things have been a lot better actually recently in terms
Oh,
of health.
good.
And so I think getting the metal out was one of the things, but then I've been also incorporating different stuff into my repertoire and the oil pulling is one of it. And I also cook a lot with your stuff. So I have, what do I have? So I have the Cocoa Gold, which this is one I don't cook with as much because my own personal preference is I'm not a lover of turmeric. I just don't love it.
Yeah.
But I put this in my dog's meal prep. But your other one, the cocoa ghee, I don't have a jar with me because I used it all. I'm obsessed with it.
Isn't that
I cook with it
crazy?
constantly. For when I'm doing breakfast, I saute up mushrooms, peppers, onions, and then I'll put my eggs on there and I saute them up in the cocoa ghee. I use it when I'm cooking like vegetables for dinner. I'll put it on a cracker. It's so good.
Yeah.
So
And it's
good.
so healthy for you. I mean, it's
Yep.
cultured ghee. So even
Uh-huh.
that much more, it was made with fermented cream. So it
Uh-huh.
helps your gut microbiome. The
Yep.
coconut
Yep.
oil is there. It's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory. It's the only, I mean, that's probably, I cook with the cocoa ghee, I would say 90% of the time.
Oh,
You
it's
know,
so
if
good. I love
it's
it so
everything,
much.
if I'm making steak or what I think I posted something where I made
Oh,
steak. Oh my
right on
gosh.
top. Yes. It's
Yes,
probably so good. It's like
so much
steak in a
better.
restaurant that comes out
Yes,
sizzling and there's like a big slab of butter on top, but replace
yes,
that with cocoa ghee.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's so much healthier.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just love it.
Well,
Yeah.
I hope you're going to bring a stock to the Naturally Healthy Pets Conference because I'm going to be buying some.
Oh, great.
Oh, good. We're going to see you there.
I'm going to
Yay.
need some.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, all right. So the things that we've talked about so far. So we have your cocoa gold, your cocoa ghee, the MCT, the triplex MCT, and then the coconut, the solid coconut oil, which will melt if you're in a hot room temperature. I learned.
Yeah.
So, um,
Yeah.
a couple of other things that I think that we should just bring to viewers' attention, especially for people with kitties, because I know that our cats can be a little bit more selective than dogs when it comes to adding things into their food, is the nice way to put it. Is I
Yeah.
have the what do I want to call this? Shreds.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
coconut flakes
Yeah.
or
The
the
flakes.
fiber,
Flakes.
fiber.
I was like,
Yeah.
shreds isn't the word that I want. Yeah, the coconut flakes, which I actually like to add these to my yogurts. Or if I make like overnight oats, which I've been gluten free lately, so I haven't made them. But and it's just the coconut flakes, and I love this. Oh, it smells so good. I love it for. My dog heard me open it, and she was looking at me with the saddest eyes.
Oh.
I'll give you a treat in a second. She was so. But anyways, this is mostly for my kitties, so I'll just take some out and I'll just sprinkle it right into their food, and they have no problem at all. Here, you can actually lick this up. But this is great for things like hairballs and constipation. Like, what do you normally see cat parents coming to you with when they're requesting like a coconut product for their kitties?
Constipation mainly is huge with cats. So we would recommend that hairball and even the coconut oil. But believe it or not, that also helps with diarrhea. So I have a dog with gets like soft poop a lot. So I would add that to her diet. And she's got anal gland issues also as well. She's a Chihuahua. So she's got anal gland issues. Her poop tends to be soft. So that is a staple in her diet. I need to give her, you can give the coconut chips or the hairball. It's pretty much the same thing. So I add that in her food. And for kitties, add that to my cat's food. Just not just for the hairballs, but it's great for digestive health. It converts, it's a prebiotic, so it feeds the healthy probiotics in your gut. Cats love the ghee too. I know. Have you ever tried the ghee on a cat? They
I'm
love it.
selfish. No, I'm selfish. I had that bucket of ghee and I used it all for myself. I barely even let the dogs have any. But the next time I get some, I'll get
There you
multiple and
go.
I'll share. I'll share. Yeah. No, I put it in the cabinet and I saved that one just for me because it was so good.
It's so good. I don't blame you. Just bread and that ghee alone.
I
Toast.
know it's so good.
All
I
you
was putting
need.
it on like gluten-free crackers because I went gluten-free a few months ago with my health stuff. But it just really elevates anything that you want to have a snack with. You probably even
Really.
dip veggies in it, and it would still be delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Carrots, whatever. So
Corn on the cob. Oh, man.
love corn on the cob. Summer's coming. Slap it on the grill. Slather this on there. Wrap it up in like tinfoil or something, or put it in a grill basket. You guys are making me hungry. Oh, and apparently Piper's hungry too because she looks so sad. I think she knows that I also have a bag of your treats next to me. I should probably open it up and give her some.
Aw.
So this one is the carrot and turmeric. And I love how it's shaped like cute little bones. So I'm going to give her one of these. But can you tell me a little bit about your treat line?
Yes. Well, it's basically a coconut treat line. And the reason why we came up with this was obviously may have heard of our very allergic dog, Violet, who was allergic to everything. Oh, there. Oh, good. I'm so glad we could see her. Yum, yum, yum. It's like, see you later.
All right, get down. Go, go.
So cute. So yeah, I mean, it's all certified organic ingredients used with our coconut oil and our coconut, and it's great for dogs who have fat issues. They're allergic to things. We have a very nice vegan line of dog treats. Not that dogs should be vegan, but at least it gives them some control in terms of what proteins they can give their dogs if they're in a limited protein diet. So we just do that to help with very sensitive dogs. We love it, and we eat some of our treats too. Like the macaroons.
I have also tried them. I've tried a lot of them actually. I'm that weird person who tastes almost everything that I bring into the house for the animals. So I've tried some of them. I've eaten the coconut stuff. I've eaten the milk bones they're a little bit
They're hard.
firm for the teeth. Yeah, a little bit not for Piper's teeth though. She's so cute.
But the macaroons and the little training ones, like the Cocoa Charms and all, I'll eat those. I eat our moringa treats to get moringa in me. I mean, they're all human grade. It's all human grade, organic, no fillers or preservatives. So why wouldn't we eat it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the last question I want to ask to leave our audience with, and we talked a little bit about this above when we first started, but what advice would you give to ensure somebody who is looking for a product? How would you ensure that they're choosing a high quality coconut oil or coconut product, any product? Apparently my dog wants to know as well.
Contact the manufacturer is what I would do. I mean, the thing about coconut oil, most coconut, I would say 99%, I could be wrong, could be 100% of coconut oil in this country is private label. So it comes from different countries. You don't really know how it's made. You don't know it's hard to trace. It's a very hard thing to trace. Only about 5% of coconut oils are privately owned and family owned and produced, even shrinking. So I would suggest to call the company and try to find out how it's made, where the coconut oils come from. That's really, really important. We talked about in the beginning of how some of this terminology can be deceiving. Marketing can be very deceiving. And I mean, it might be great for other purposes, but if you want a good therapeutic coconut oil that's actually going to address a lot of the health issues that we talk about, then I would go for the highest quality coconut oil that has the highest levels of lauric, caprylic, and capric acid.
And do other brands ever state that they have certain amounts of those things, or do they usually just probably leave it in the dark, right? They're not as forthcoming as you are.
Exactly. But a lot
They
of
don't.
yeah, but a lot of the coconut oils that you buy in grocery stores anyway, they're really meant for food and cooking. They're not meant to supplement medium chain fats to animals or people for any, health conditions. So they don't even put that on the label. They don't really care. They don't do any lipid
I
tests.
don't think they test.
Yeah, they don't really test for it. So it's just basic coconut oil to cook with. A lot of it is refined or partially refined coconut oil. So
Okay.
yeah, there's a huge difference in coconut oils. They're not the same. They're not all the same.
Certainly not the same. Can you tell if something has been, what's the word I want? Deodorized? Like if it's, because sometimes like they bleach it, right? And some companies will deodorize because it can be adulterated. Is there any way to tell?
The smell. Yeah. The smell is the number one, where it's a very muted smell. It just doesn't have that coconut smell, fresh coconutty smell to it. Even, I don't know if you've smelled other MCT oils. So a lot of MCT oils that you get on the market is actually odorless and tasteless. So it has zero smell or taste of coconut oil. So that's pretty much made from RBD coconut oil. Our MCT oil does have a faint smell of coconut. Now, our coconut oil really smells like fresh coconut. We're very accustomed to the smell. It's very hard to tell people, but once you get used to it,
Yeah, I could smell. Literally, you could have different coconut oils in front of me, and I can smell the differences between them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. It's like having a refined palate, but it's for coconuts.
exactly.
Just for smells. Yeah. Yeah. I can tell. It's a beautiful, it's like a fresh, clean smell. It's not like an overpowering odor that makes you go like, oh God, coconuts, and makes you run away or anything like that. And even like the MCT for people that are a bit sensitive to that coconut smell or they don't love coconut all that much, I will say with doing the oil pulling, once I've swished a few times in my mouth, I can't taste it anymore. It's not overpowering. It's subtle and it's just nice and crisp and clean. And so if you open up a jar at the supermarket and it smells like nothing, you've probably gotten yourself something that has either been, cleaned chemicals or deodorized or something.
Yes, for sure. Exactly. Yeah.
This was amazing and so informative, and I feel like we could go on forever. You have resources on your website, right? For people who want to learn more, where can they go?
We do. Well, we have two resources. One, of course, is our blog. So we write about so many different topics from pancreatitis to seizures and brain and allergies. And as much as possible, we will try and include a lot of references to studies. And for those people who love studies, we actually have a place where you can download. We have an ebook, which is a coconut oil research studies, and all it is studies. It's just pages and pages, and we categorized it by topic. So by IBD, by pancreatitis, brain health, you name it, different topics. And I'm working to update a new version. We're coming out with version 2 in the next few weeks. So,
that's so exciting.
they
I'm
can
a big
download.
nerd, so
Yeah.
that's
You just
right up
download
my
this
alley.
book. Yeah, there you go. It's literally 60 plus pages of studies. Yeah.
So people
and
say-
growing. Yeah. If people say there are no studies on coconut oil, which I've also seen, that's not true at all. There's a ton of studies out there. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I'll make sure that I link that in the show notes, your website, all of your socials. And if anybody is going to Dr. Judy's Naturally Healthy Pets Conference in May, they will be there.
All right. Yay. Can't wait. Thanks. Thanks for having us, Kara.
Thank you for listening. Please remember that you, yes, you, are the driving force that helps keep small businesses and platforms like mine running. So if you liked what you heard, please like, share, and most importantly, rate this podcast. It's the only way we can reach more people and spread the word about natural health. None of the conditions discussed or recommendations given are meant to replace the advice of your health provider. So if you have concerns about yourself or your pets, please confer with a human or animal health practitioner. Have a super fantastic day, and I'll see you next week.